Mr. Keir Starmer, I heard you're in a little bit of trouble. I've got bad news for you because you're in a whole bunch more. I've been unfairly imprisoned, sees that you have lied about me and slandered me endlessly without evidence, that you have tried to use every judicial measure across Romania and the United Kingdom to get me off the internet when I'm an American citizen with free speech. Things you say about me, nobody supports you, and I now have the paperwork. So now I have to decide.
Andrew Tate just turned Keir Starmer into the main target of a brutal political takedown, and the reason is simple. Speaking from America, Tate claimed he now has paperwork linking Morgan McSweeney, Starmer's chief of staff, to the attack against him. That instantly drags Starmer into the center of the storm, because Tate is pointing at Labour's own machine and saying the rot starts near the top.
I'm here in America, and I've just been handed a document.
Tate opened by addressing Starmer directly, and that gave the whole thing a different weight. He did not dance around names. He said, "Mr. Keir Starmer," then told him the bad news had arrived. According to Tate, the document he received in America proves McSweeney was behind what happened to him. That is a serious claim, and Starmer cannot hide behind his usual lawyer face forever. When your own political operation gets named, silence starts looking less clever and more guilty.
It breaks international law. It completely breaks the presumption of innocence. It shows the corruption of the British state. It shows that you were afraid that I was inspiring bravery in young men, and when young men are brave, they will prevent the Labour government from enslaving the entire UK population.
The legal part cuts even deeper because Tate claims the whole thing breaks international law and destroys the presumption of innocence. That phrase should embarrass Starmer more than anyone else, because this man built his public image around being the serious legal adult in the room. Tate is basically saying Starmer's side treated him like a guilty man first and worried about evidence later. For a prime minister who sells himself as fair, careful, and lawful, that is a brutal public slap.
That is why you have insulted me every single day in the mainstream news. That is why you told the Romanians to lock me up even though I never did anything wrong. That is why members of parliament to this day slander me every single day, because the primary objective is to attach heinous allegations to my name to the point where people are afraid to use my influence.
Then Tate explained why he believes they came after him. He says Starmer's people feared his influence over young men because he was inspiring bravery. That is the heart of his accusation. In Tate's view, Labour does not fear weakness. Labour benefits from weakness. Brave young men ask harder questions, reject soft control, and stop waiting for the state to tell them how to think. That is why Tate frames Starmer's Britain as a system that panics when influence grows outside its approved circle.
He is an unchecked source of influence. Isn't that right, Morgan McSweeney? And I have the paperwork. This is against every single law. This shows the absolute corruption of the British state. If I was a terrorist, or if I stabbed 3 little girls to death.
That is where Starmer looks especially pathetic. Britain has real problems everywhere. People worry about safety, culture, immigration, cost of living, crime, public trust, and basic national confidence. Yet Tate says Starmer's circle treated him like the major threat because he had reach. Imagine being prime minister while the country is struggling, and your political world is allegedly obsessing over one man online. That is not strong leadership. That is insecurity wearing a suit and pretending it is strategy.
I'd be in the news for a couple days, 2, maybe 3 days at most. That's the end of it. But I've been in the news. People tried to say that I'm the reason Britain is broken every single day for the last 4 years. This is not organic. This has been done on purpose. This is a directive coming directly from the Labour government, informing the mainstream media to remind people I'm a bad person so nobody listens to my ideas.
Tate also brought up the phrase, unchecked source of influence. And that wording matters. It does not sound like justice. It sounds like control. It sounds like officials looking at a public figure and asking how to reduce his reach, not how to prove a case fairly. Tate threw that phrase back at Morgan McSweeney because it supports his argument that this was never just about allegations. It was about influence, reputation, and keeping young men away from ideas Starmer's class cannot control.
Because my ideas instill and inspire bravery in the population, and they do not want a brave population because they are trying to enslave and break Britain. So what are you going to do, Keir Starmer, when I decide which judge in the USA looks at this document and sees that I've been unfairly imprisoned?
Tate says the plan was to attach heinous allegations to his name until people became afraid to associate with him. That is reputational warfare. You do not need to beat someone in public debate if you can make their name toxic before the debate begins.
This battle is not over. You've tried to kill me twice. You're gonna try again. And unless you succeed, the only person going to jail is you.
You turn the person into a warning label. People stop sharing clips, stop quoting lines, stop asking questions because they fear being dragged into the same smear machine. Tate claims that was the point, and Starmer now owns the political atmosphere around it.
What are you gonna do, Keir Starmer? Because I have an American passport. So what are you gonna do now that I have the paperwork proving that you attacked an American citizen for his free speech and tried to ruin his life and threw him in a Romanian gulag?
Then came the media angle. Tate says he has been insulted in mainstream news every single day and that MPs still slander him. He argues the coverage was not organic because he has been blamed for Britain being broken for 4 years. He even compared it with violent offenders, saying a terrorist or someone who stabbed little girls might dominate the news for 2 or 3 days, while he remained a constant target. His point is sharp. Starmer's establishment seems more obsessed with controlling influence than confronting real danger.
Which judge sees these papers and where I take you and your entire cabal of corrupt pieces of shit who have completely destroyed the once great Britain?
The Romania claim makes the accusation even bigger. Tate says Starmer told the Romanians to lock him up, even though he says he did nothing wrong. He says they used judicial pressure across Romania and the United Kingdom to get him off the internet. He also reminds Starmer that he has an American passport and free speech rights, and now he is deciding which judge in the United States should see the paperwork. That moves the fight beyond Britain.
You are worse than a communist. You're a scumbag. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates you. You have no public support. Nobody believes the things you say about me.
He is saying Starmer's side tried to destroy him, using every available system across Romania and the United Kingdom. That is a massive accusation against a prime minister who built his career around law, process, and human rights. The sarcasm writes itself. Keir Starmer, the legal saint of British politics, now gets accused by Tate of using legal systems like political weapons. What a beautiful little branding disaster.
It is the job of a leader to inspire all of the people to have trust in him, not just some of the people, not just the people he likes, not just the people on his party or the people he wants. It is his job as a leader to have every single person in the country believe that he cares about the issue and he's doing something actively to fix it.
The American citizen point makes it even sharper. Tate says he has an American passport and free speech rights, and now he is deciding which judge in the USA should see the paperwork. That moves the fight onto dangerous ground for Starmer because Tate is not just ranting into a camera. He is suggesting legal escalation in America. So Starmer's camp may have wanted to manage a British media narrative, but Tate is now talking about documents, judges, passports, and international consequences.
Instead, what Keir did was stand up and do the absolute opposite. Shut down any legitimate concerns, tell people they don't have a voice, tell people nothing's going to change, is going to stay exactly the way it is. And let me tell you something. I want to make this very clear. There's a lot of people in the world who would rather go to jail and have a warm bed and 3 square meals a day than watch their children die. There's a lot of people who would rather go to jail than watch their society collapse in real time around them.
That is why this takedown hits so hard. Tate connected Starmer, McSweeney, media smears, presumption of innocence, Romania, and American free speech into one accusation.
These are people who have lived in the same place for a very long time. They have a vested interest in this geographical location. And without political solutions being offered, I don't know how hubristic you must be to sit and expect anything other than what we've seen.
He is saying Starmer's Britain feared his influence, attacked his name, used institutions against him, and now may have to answer outside its own comfortable political bubble. And Starmer? He looks like a prime minister who wanted control so badly that he may have walked straight into a fight he cannot control.